Coming up on the Q30 Newscast, get the info on Quinnipiac's switch from Blackboard to Canvas.
Learn about a new visitor center being built across the road at Sleepy Giant State Park and a dessert cooking demo in Reckwell.
Also, get all the info on Student Government Association elections.
All that and more coming up on the Q30 Newscast. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Q30 Newscast. I'm Zach Stokinger.
And my name is Seb Lopes. Thanks for joining us this evening. We have a lot to get into, so let's jump straight to it.
With the school year back in full swing, Quinnipiac students had a new wrinkle to their college experience, as around 35% of the school's classes switched from Blackboard to Canvas.
For more on the change, we head to Q30's Christina Semenes.
This school year, Quinnipiac is making the switch from the Blackboard learning management system to Canvas.
We had been on Blackboard Learn Original for upwards of a decade, and Blackboard Original was coming to its kind of end-of-life part of the product development cycle. So we knew that we had to evaluate if we wanted to move to the new Blackboard, Blackboard Ultra, or to move to Canvas.
Adam Nemiroff explored different options before the switch, but he thinks that Canvas's features can be beneficial to learning.
It's user-friendly, it plugs in a lot of the things that we already have better than it works now, and it really is this LMS of the future for the university of the future.
However, Canvas is still in the process of being phased into use at the school.
We have about 48%, just shy of 50% of our course sections this fall are running in Canvas, and that number will continue to grow as we move into J-term in the spring.
While many students' classes are still on both Blackboard and Canvas, they are beginning to embrace the new features that Canvas provides.
So I have still some of my classes on Blackboard, and honestly I like Canvas a lot better because it sends me notifications, whereas with Blackboard it's not as consistent.
I definitely like Canvas better. I have classes on Blackboard and Canvas, but I like getting the emails, Canvas notifications, and it's definitely more user friendly. I feel like it's easier to access more the modules and assignments. Blackboard's just frustrating from time to time.
However, some students are taking more time to adapt to the change, citing that their professors are also learning how to use the new system.
Half of my classes are on Blackboard and half of my classes are on Canvas, so I don't even know where I'm supposed to be. And none of my professors understand how to use Canvas, and so nothing is translating, so everything has been lost. I don't have grades in half of my classes because my professors don't know how to use it.
Ultimately, Canvas is here to stay. All courses will be transitioned onto the platform by next fall semester. Reporting from the Quad for Q30 News, I'm Christina Semenes.
The Student Government Association class elections results were announced last night via their Instagram. The class of 2027 and 2028 senators were announced. Serena Christensen, Nick Nardi, Owen Clark, and Nee Skiles for the class of 2027, and Hendrik Alvarez for the class of 2028. Charlie Legore was elected as class president of the 2029 with a 31.62% of the vote. Dylan Pacioni, Emma Lafayette, Kate Marin, Abigail Murphy, Jonathan Pagan, and Sofia Toledo Perez will serve as class of 2029 senators. It was a banner day due to over 1,700 votes being cast in this election, the most in the past decade.
The Student Government Association held an event named Your Voice, Your Vote this past Tuesday on the Mount Carmel Bobcat Way lawn. The slogan was, quote, "Make your voice heard and help shape your first year on campus," end quote. The event presented an opportunity to meet the first-year candidates running for first-year senator. Attendants were also able to cast their vote for the person whom they believe should represent their first-year class.
On Monday, Handprints for Sunshine hosted a smart cookie drive in Tater Hall, in which students and staff could bring school supplies or make a donation in exchange for a cookie, with all proceeds going to local schools.
On Tuesday, the September CAP Blood Drive kicked off. The drive was held throughout the day, both Tuesday and Wednesday. The drive was hosted by the Community Action Project, while the drive itself was run by the Connecticut Blood Center in Quinnipiac Student Center 120. All the blood collected was given to the Connecticut Blood Center. Perks of taking part in the event include free food, drinks, and snacks.
Sleepy Giant fans, rejoice. There will be a new visitor center for you to enjoy. More on this, we'll send it to Melissa Sheehan.
Hi, I'm Melissa Sheehan at Sleeping Giant State Park, where they are constructing a new visitor center, bringing bathrooms, communal spaces, and exhibits to the local community.
Sleeping Giant State Park has been a favorite for locals and visitors, offering stunning views, rich history, and beautiful trails. It's a perfect spot to connect with nature.
Just being with my friends, doing something active, and being in community was probably my favorite. It was just so much fun to be around everybody.
I come to the Sleeping Giant to meet my friends and just to come here with my family, just to take a break from all the stress of school.
Construction has begun on a new visitor center at Sleeping Giant. The center will feature exhibits on the park's ecology and history, local museum displays, and essential amenities like bathrooms, making the experience more accessible and enjoyable for all.
There's a lot about Sleeping Giant that we all don't know. I mean, this forest has been here for centuries, and who knows what things that we can discover and understand.
I think having bathrooms is especially important because a lot of people get nervous about that coming on hikes and stuff, so maybe people won't feel stressed if they have kids with them.
A lot of people from all around come here, and I feel like the trailer isn't as effective as a restroom in a visitor center could be.
Having a center for people to come and learn brings even more people in, and having a nice bathroom set up at a state park, I feel is very important. I just feel it'll bring more people here walking around.
Once complete, the new center will enhance the visitor experience and provide a hub for community events and programs. It's a major milestone for the park and the community.
For Q30 News, I'm Melissa Sheehan.
On Monday, September 15th, Quinnipiac University was awarded a grant of $100,000 from the New England Prison Education Collaborative. The New England Prison Education Collaborative is a 5-year initiative under the New England Board of Higher Education. The aim is to accelerate and support efforts to ensure all incarcerated individuals have access to high-quality education. With Quinnipiac securing this grant, it becomes one of only 5 institutions in New England chosen to enhance higher education opportunities for incarcerated learners.
On Monday, On the Rocks hosted Talks on the Rocks, where first-year students were able to attend the info sessions. First years were also able to meet for other first-year students and enjoy food and refreshments and get a little bit more acclimated to college life.
Now, Zach, as we inch closer to the start of hockey season, I think it's only fitting that the temperatures have been starting to drop.
Well, Seb, I don't know if it's exactly hockey weather yet, but we may be seeing some weather roll through here, and we're going to send it to James Bellmare with the report.
Thanks, Seb and Zach. Looking at the forecast for the next 3 days, tonight we have a high of 72 and a low of 62. It's going to rain a little bit, so make sure to bring an umbrella. Thursday, we have a high of 79 and a low of 61. It's going to be a little cloudy, too. On Friday, it's going to be a high of 83 and a low of 56, and it's going to be bright and sunny. That's all I have right now for the weather, but stay tuned for my full 7-day forecast. Q30 Newscast will be right back.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
My name's Stacy, I'm 57, and I was adopted in 2020. One teen can come in and make you look at life in a whole different way.
You know, he's my father, so I look up to him a lot. If I can be 10% of the man he is, I'll be a happy person for sure.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Earlier today, the Arnold Bernhard Library held their annual celebration where students are welcomed back to campus. Not only is the purpose to welcome students back, but also provide a chance to take a tour of all that the library offers during your time at the Q. Throughout the experience, a raffle was held, along with multiple other opportunities to win prizes. You could also make crafts, eat popcorn, and various other snacks as the day went along.
If you're looking for a healthy dessert, you've come to the right place. Yesterday in the Reckwell Demo Kitchen, nutritionist Dana White led students through 3 healthy recipes.
Well, I hope everyone liked it. This was the first time we've done a Common Hour event in the Teaching Kitchen, but we made healthy desserts, which usually make people pretty happy. So I just hope everyone had a good time, and they'll come back again for the next one.
On Tuesday, a 2-hour-long picnic was held on the brand new South Quad. The outdoor picnic was reserved for all occupational therapy students, offering a chance to get to know one another. Fun yard games from Reckwell were offered for the members of the picnic to participate in. The goal of the event was to increase awareness and engagement from non-occupational therapy students, as well as advertise the program through word of mouth and informative flyers.
On Sunday, the South Asian Society hosted a Garba event at the Burt Khan Court. Garba is a traditional Gujarati circle dance that originated in Gujarati, India. The dance takes place during the Hindu festival of Navaratri, or 9 nights, in celebration of Brahma, or the primordial mother.
Saying there's been a lot of noise within politics this week is an understatement. So without further notice, let's send it to Ava Heaton of Q30.
Thanks, guys. Politics has been on everyone's radar lately, so let's get right into it. The suspect in right-wing activist Charlie Kirk's killing has been identified as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. It has been reported that he confessed to the shooting in a Discord chat shortly before turning himself into law enforcement, saying, quote, "It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this," end quote. Due to the assassination, the Trump administration is now asking for Congress's approval of an additional $58 million towards security. Kirk's assassination was the latest event in a string of political violence, including the killing of Minnesota lawmaker Melissa Hortman and her husband, an arson attack on Governor Josh Shapiro's home, and 2 assassination attempts against President Trump last summer. On to Capitol Hill. In a 51-49 vote last Wednesday, the Republican-led Senate opted to table an amendment proposed by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. The amendment was to compel the Justice Department to release all of the Epstein files. 2 Republicans, Rand Paul of Kentucky and Josh Hawley of Missouri, joined the 47 Democrats in voting against tabling the amendment. Schumer told reporters, quote, "There has been so much lying, obfuscation, cover-ups. The American people need to see everything that's in the Epstein file, and my amendment would make that happen," end quote. This vote was so significant because Senate Republicans have largely avoided the topic, but now they have all been put on record regarding the matter. On Monday, President Trump signed an order to send the National Guard into Memphis, Tennessee to combat crime. He called this move a, quote, "replica of our extraordinarily successful efforts," end quote, in reference to the similar situation last month in the nation's capital. Trump also said that the push in Memphis would involve officials from various federal agencies, including the FBI, the Drug Enforcement Administration, and ICE. Well, that's all I have for political news this week. Back to Zach and Seb at the desk.
Thank you, Ava. The political sphere is forever changing.
From charges being dropped to more TikTok ban drama, news nationally has also been heavy this week. Q30's Alyssa Schneider has more.
Good evening. This is Alyssa Schneider with your national news updates. The Trump administration says it has reached a deal to stop TikTok from being banned in the U.S. The plan would shift control of the app's U.S. data and technology away from China and closer to the American Oversight Committee. Lawmakers still need to review the details, and some are questioning whether it fully complies with national security regulations. For now, the deal offers a temporary path to keep TikTok running while negotiations continue. Now to the nation's health. The Department of Health and Human Services is stepping up efforts to fight teen vaping. A new guide highlights how millions of kids are using e-cigarettes, many of them illegal products that make up most of what's sold in stores. Federal agents recently seized millions of these devices worth over $80 million. Officials say schools, parents, and doctors need to work together to cut off access and help kids quit. Lastly, to the Big Apple. A judge has dropped terrorism charges against Luigi Mangione, the man accused of killing United Healthcare's CEO, Brian Thompson. The judge ruled there wasn't enough evidence to prove the killing was meant to influence the public or the government, which is required under state law to be considered an act of terrorism. But a murder charge still stands, and Mangione also faces federal charges that could bring the death penalty. His next state court hearing is set for December. That's the latest on your national news. Back to you, Seb and Zach.
We'll have to take our second break of the night, but stick around, as Jimmy Bailmayer will return to give us a full 7-day weather report.
And Wellness Wednesday is just around the corner. Stick with us through the break.
Love the hustle, Cliff. Who are you?
Your lungs.
We're quite proud of you.
Even though you quit smoking years ago, you may be at risk for lung cancer.
Okay. Well, with the routine screening, you can detect it early when it's more curable.
Sounds good, guys. Can I get a little space here?
Biologically, no.
Okay.
Listen to your lungs. Get a routine screening that could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Do you enjoy debating Quinnipiac sports?
That's all flash, no catch. She didn't net it in the back of the net. That's not even a goal.
What are you doing pulling out rhymes?
Brady, that's like a crossover with a missed layup.
Bobcat Breakdown is the place for you, with debate, analysis, and so much more.
Mate Marinov. He is good, but oh man, is he bad. And
that team is amazing. How do you not put Fairfield women's volley?
Tune in to Bobcat Breakdown every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. on Q30TV.com/watch.
Welcome back to the Q30 Newscast. I'm Zach Stokinger.
If you're just joining us, my name is Seb Lopes, joined alongside Zach Stokinger for the night.
While we are currently experiencing some rain in the air in Hamden recently, we could see the weather turn around for the weekend.
For more on the upcoming forecast, we send it to Q30's James Bellamar.
Thanks, Seb and Zach. Looking at the forecast for the next 7 days, on Wednesday we have a high of 72 and a low of 62. It's going to be a little rainy, so make sure to bring an umbrella. On Thursday, it's going to be a high of 79 and a low of 51. On Friday, a high of 83 and a low of 56. Saturday, a high of 72 and a low of 57. On Sunday, it's going to be a high of 72 and a low of 61. On Monday, it's going to be a high of 77 and a low of 62. And on Tuesday, it's going to be a high of 79 and a low of 64. Now, looking at the forecast on the map of Connecticut, in Stamford, we're going to have a high of 79 and a low of 61. In New Haven, it's again going to be a high of 79 and a low of 61. In Danbury, it's going to be a high of 80 degrees and a low of 57. Torrington, it's going to be a high of 78 and a low of 59. In Hartford, it's going to be a high of 79 and a low of 59. In Norwich, it's going to be a high of 77 and a low of 57. And in New London, it's going to be a high of 74 and a low of 58. Looking at the map of Connecticut, it's going to be cloudy all over, so just make sure to stay bundled up because it might be a little cold this week. But that's all I have for you guys. Back to you guys at the desk.
Well, summer may be on its way out, but that doesn't mean that the weather has already begun to change. And according to CBS News, Americans tend to consume more sugar in the heat zone.
That's right, Zach. With rising temperatures comes temptation to consume products with added sugar. A study from Nature Climate Change found sugar intake rises when temperature ranges between 54 and 86 degrees Fahrenheit, with a noticeable spike above 68 degrees Fahrenheit.
Soda and juice rose sugar consumption the most. Frozen desserts such as ice cream increased slower, and sugar from bakery goods, oils, and raw sugars actually decreased slightly.
Researchers link this trend to both psychological and sociological responses, noting that lower income and less educated groups were more likely to increase their sugar intake.
Well, Seb, news can happen anywhere, anytime.
And that means internationally as well, where news doesn't stop either. From a continued war to the U.S. gang involved in international waters, Q30's Andrew Allison has all the stories.
Thanks, Zach and Seb. There's a lot going on around the world this week, so let's get right into it. Israel began a ground attack against Gaza City yesterday, closing in on Palestine's largest city. According to an Israeli military official, the main phase of the operation has begun. Israel's military warned residents of the city to leave as tens of thousands clogged the coastal road, and the UN estimates that more than 70,000 have fled in the past few days. According to hospitals in the area, there have been at least 69 civilian deaths. This attack comes as a UN Commission of Inquiry accused Israel of genocide in Gaza. It issued a report calling for the international community to end the genocide and punish those responsible. Now to South America, the U.S. killed 3 people in a second strike on a vessel in international waters near Venezuela. The vessel was supposedly transporting illegal narcotics. President Trump announced the strike in a Truth Social post on Monday. He said, quote, "The strike occurred while these confirmed narco-terrorists from Venezuela were in international waters transporting illegal narcotics headed to the U.S., end quote. This was the second strike in the last 2 weeks. These attacks represent an unprecedented use of military force against criminal organizations. In the past, the U.S. relied on the Coast Guard and law enforcement to inspect vessels before they reached the U.S. Some in the U.S. government question the legality of the strikes, while others claim it as a noble use of the military. Lastly, to conflict in Europe, Poland and Romania are set to deploy jets due to a Russian drone violating Romania's airspace, soon after the Russian drones were shot down in Poland. A Russian drone entering Romanian airspace on Saturday was the 11th such incident since Russia began its invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Romania's Ministry of Defense claims there have been 50 drone attacks by Russia on Ukraine near the Romanian border, resulting in 30 instances of drone debris falling in Romania. While Polish and Dutch fighters have downed Russian drones in NATO airspace, Romania has yet to do the same. Now that's it for your international news update. Back to you, Zach and Seb.
Well, it is time for us to take our third and final break of the night, but you might want to stick around as Spencer Decker breaks down everything in Quinnipiac sports.
We also have one of the more interesting Bobcat babbles you will hear up next. Don't go anywhere. You won't want to miss the ending of this newscast.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused.
A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out that self-doubt and support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and your mental health.
Discover the resources that you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Welcome back to the Q30 Newscast. Quinnipiac Fall Sports are starting to ramp up their schedules with multiple teams entering conference play.
That's right, with women's soccer already in MAC play and men's soccer starting MAC play on Saturday. Spencer, take it away.
Thanks, guys. I'm Spencer Decker, and I've got you covered on all things Quinnipiac sports from this past week. Starting on the soccer pitch, Quinnipiac men's soccer had a non-conference matchup against the LAU Sharks on Tuesday. After conceding early goals to the Sharks, LAU would pull away late to win the game 5-2. Despite the loss, Sivert Ristolson has scored both goals for the Bobcats, moving his point total up to 8 on the season. Things would get chippy near the end of the game when Quinnipiac's João Pinto was kicked in the back of the leg, causing a brawl that led to 3 red cards being assessed, including Quinnipiac head coach Eric DaCosta. All players that received a red card are suspended for 1 game. Quinnipiac's next game is on Saturday, September 20th, where they open MAC play on the road versus Marist. Moving across the way, Quinnipiac field hockey headed back home to play the Columbia Lions. Quinnipiac gave up an early goal to the Lions, but would score 3 consecutive goals to go up 3-1. They conceded a late goal, but it would not be enough, as Quinnipiac would go on to win 3-2. Bobcats standout Francisca Escoyas continued to impress, and she scored the game-winning goal and assisted on the first one, bumping her season total in points up to 14. She's on pace to become the 13th Bobcat in program history to have a 30-point season. Bobcats are back in action against the number 6 ranked Liberty Flames this Friday, September 19th at 1 p.m. Lastly, the Quinnipiac volleyball team played at the College of Charleston Invitational over the weekend. The Bobcats played 3 games in 3 days against Stetson, Charleston, and Youngstown State. Bobcats lost 3-1 to Stetson and Charleston 3-0, and in the final day of the event, Quinnipiac forced a 5th set against the Penguins, but ultimately dropped the 5th set 15-12. Quinnipiac finishes off their non-conference play this weekend as they travel to Philadelphia for the Cherry and White Invitational. That's all I have in the Quinnipiac sports world. Back to Zach and Seb at the desk.
Thank you, Spencer. Seb, I got a question. Have you ever been to Chili's? Because for some, Chili's is more than just a restaurant.
Well, I have been to Chili's to answer your question, Zach, but I can't say I've seen a marriage at a Chili's.
A marriage?
That's right. A couple exchanged their vows in a Chili's. Garrett Copeland and Ash Vicious are a Connecticut couple who decided their special day would be spent in a Bristol, Connecticut Chili's. The couple would typically spend special occasions like birthdays and holidays at Chili's, even including one of their first dates. So when the wedding venue decision came around, it was pretty simple. The only ones in attendance for the wedding were the couple, a photographer, and Copeland's best friend as a witness. The drink and food of choice, a presidential margarita, chips and salsa, and an oh-so-famous triple dipper because, quote, it's still a pretty good deal, said Copeland.
Now, Seb, I have to ask, what's your favorite restaurant?
It has to be Chipotle, all right? Just something about that rice bowl with some steak and some barbacoa hits me. My dad hates it because every time the special protein isn't in store.
Seb, I don't know exactly if I would define Chipotle as a store or a restaurant, sorry. My favorite restaurant, however, is Texas Roadhouse. You get me a couple servings of those Texas rolls, I will be set for the next month. They're so good.
Well, unfortunately, we have to say goodbye as we are all out of time for tonight's newscast.
Be sure to follow us on X at Q30 News. For Seb Lopes, I'm Zach Stokinger. Good night, Bobcats.
Coming up on the